Gentleman from Arlington, Mr. Lopez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for the point of a personal privilege.
Gentleman may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, on the morning of April 16th, 2007, I was in a cabinet meeting on the third floor of the Patrick Henry building. And we had just begun when an aide burst in and told us about the shooting at Virginia Tech. 32 people were killed and 17 were wounded in the worst campus shooting in U.S. history. That horrible day prompted the General Assembly to act quickly, to close the loopholes that allowed a mentally unsound gunman to purchase handguns without detection. Dozens of mass shootings have occurred since that day. Tucson, Aurora, and Newtown, Connecticut, where 28 people were killed or wounded, mostly kids. But unlike what happened after Virginia Tech, we are not acting at all. In Virginia, we have a bad habit of defeating every single sensible gun violence prevention bill proposed. Most don't even leave subcommittee. These bills, like limitations on high-capacity gun magazines, are not about taking away hunting rights or proud family traditions. I have no problem with hunting. I come from a family of hunters. But you do not need a 100-round magazine or a 33-round magazine to kill a deer. High-capacity gun magazines have one purpose and one purpose only: to kill people. Since the 1930s, federal law prohibits me from having more than 3 shotgun shells in my shotgun when I'm duck hunting. That means that ducks have more protection than people in Virginia. Let me repeat that. Under the law, ducks have more protection than people in Virginia. A 2011 study analyzed data kept by the Virginia State Police and found a clear decline in the percentage of high-capacity ammunition magazines used in crimes after the 1994 federal assault weapons ban. That percentage reached a low of 10% in 2004 and then steadily climbed after Congress allowed the ban to expire. By 2010, the percentage was close to 22%. Today, magazines are responsible for far too many law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty. What's more, a CNN poll found that 62% of the public supports a ban on these unnecessary high-capacity ammunition magazines. This year, we're also going to be putting in legislation making it a Class 1 misdemeanor to knowingly authorize a child age 4 or younger to use a firearm. In recent months, we've seen over and over again examples of young children not being able to handle firearms, even under the supervision of trained professionals. Handing a child under the age of 4 a gun, the adult is no longer in control of the situation. Simply requiring adult supervision, even with careful instruction, cannot guarantee the safety of the child or anyone nearby. Under the code, there is no law, like in other states, preventing an adult from handing an infant child a gun, loaded or otherwise, so long as the adult remains present. Virginia code prevents the purchase, possession, or transportation of firearms by persons adjudicated legally incompetent or mentally incapacitated. If it's illegal to hand a gun to a person with mental capabilities of a 4-year-old, why would you hand a gun to an actual 4-year-old? A 3 to 4-year-old child is only just becoming capable of correctly naming colors, remembering parts of a story, counting, understanding time, sorting objects by shape. Anyone possessing only these limited cognitive abilities should not be trusted with a gun with or without supervision. Regardless of how one interprets the Second Amendment, I think we can all agree that the Founding Fathers were not talking about 3-year-olds. Let me finish by making this one point. You know, by the standards of some folks today, Ronald Reagan was a traitor to the Second Amendment. Why? Because Reagan supported common sense gun violence restrictions. As governor, he pushed one of the first modern gun regulations, a 15-day waiting period. As president, he banned ownership of fully fully automatic rifles. He supported the assault weapons ban and stated, if the passage of the Brady Bill were to result in a reduction of gun violence by only 10 or 15%, it would be well worth making it the law of the land. Was President Reagan a heretic or an unprincipled Constitution shredder? Of course not. Reagan appreciated that there was nothing incompatible between the Second Amendment and appropriate gun violence safeguards. The brilliance of Reagan's leadership was that although he was a conservative, he was willing to compromise and be pragmatic. Reagan also appreciated that politically, doing nothing in the face of unspeakable carnage was unacceptable. Between 1999 and 2007, there were nearly 32,000 gun deaths in Virginia. Virginia is one of just a handful of states where there are more deadly shootings than car accidents, deaths. Virginia is just one of a handful of states where there are more deadly shootings than deaths in a car accident. What has to happen before we stop playing politics with people's lives and act? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.